I don't ever smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some disease. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to run. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome guys. Miss Liz in the house. That's right. Miss Liz is here on Friday, right? Isn't that weird? I've thrown in some Mondays and Fridays to keep you guys all on your toes. I have the incredible Monica DuBeau in the house. I hope I'm saying it right. If not, I'll get her to pronounce it for me, for all of you guys. But we're going to get started with her tea. And her tea today is Trapped, Exposed, Authored. And she's a fragile emotional state, the cage, and the woman with the tea set. That is the tea we are serving today. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different things. And we're also going to talk about a petition that I'm going to bring up. So if you guys feel the need to go and sign that petition and support Monica, she would greatly appreciate that as well. But before we get started, get over to all those platforms, guys. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Clapper, Lemonade, all of those good platforms. You guys know them out there. If I haven't mentioned the platforms, I am on all of them. Check that out. Give that a like, follow, and subscribe, and get these tea times out there because they do make a difference for all the guests and somebody who resonates with the stories. Also, jump over to the podcast apps, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Listen Notes, all those good platforms as well. There's a bunch of them. Miss Liz is on all of those as well. So if you find me, just give that a like, follow, and subscribe. Also, jump over to babyboomers.org because Miss Liz is partnered up with them. If you guys are looking for something different and you're looking to be on different podcasts, there are over 50 different podcast hosts over there that you can reach out to and get yourself seen on those shows as well. Or check those podcasts out and give those a like, follow, and subscribe. Miss Liz is all about supporting one another, right? So let's get the disclaimer going, and then we're going to get Monica in here with a beautiful intro, and then we're going to spill her tea, and we're going to make a difference today. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicating to sharing real-life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I'm Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own good judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of the discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at bookingmissliz@gmail.com or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Well, welcome to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where conversations remind us that sometimes the greatest strength is not found in avoiding life's hardest moments, but in learning how to rebuild yourself after everything changes. Today's guest brings us a deeply powerful story of resilience, identity, advocacy, and the courage to keep searching for answers when the world keeps dismissing your pain. Please join me in welcoming Monica DuBeau, author, speaker, former executive leader, and patient advocate whose life transformed after years of unexplainable medical decline led to diagnosis of chardia malfunction, craniocervical instability, CCI, and underlying connection tissue disorder. Before her health journey reshaped her world, Monica spent more than 25 years in leadership and innovation, building a successful career while helping organizations navigate complex systems and change. Yet nothing prepared her for becoming the person fighting to be heard inside the healthcare system itself. After 4 years of unanswered symptoms, medical dismissals, and search for clarity, Monica's diagnosis changed not only for her health, but her identity, her purpose, and her direction of her life. Today, Monica is using her voice to build awareness, advocate for early recognition, support family navigating misunderstood conditions, and create the system she wishes she had existed for her and now hopes will exist for her daughters and others walking similar journeys. Her work is rooted in resilience, neuroscience, trauma awareness, healing, and helping people rebuild agencies and identity after profound disruption. Today's Teatime will explore invisible illness and medical advocacy, rebuilding identity after life-changing diagnosis, trauma resilience and emotional healing, the importance of being seen and believed, and creating bridges between patients, clientele, and communities. Monica reminds us that surviving collapse is not the end of the story. Sometimes it's the beginning of the purpose. So grab your cup and join us for a powerful conversation filled within honesty, resilience, awareness, and real-life tea, truth, experience, and awareness. Let me get Monica in here and spill some tea. Welcome, Monica.
Hello, Miss Liz. Good to see you. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me join today.
There we go. Did we get you back?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right.
I think my hearing box kicked out. I don't know if anybody heard me.
Oh, hopefully they did. I can hear you.
Well, that's a good thing, right? Oh, good old hearing aids, Miss Liz, right? Well, Monica, welcome to the show today.
Thank you. So great to be here.
So, Monica, tell us a little bit before we get into your story. Who was Monica as a little girl, and who's Monica now?
Yeah, so I grew up in Michigan. So I live in the Boston area now, but I grew up in Michigan, and I was the baby of the family. There were 4 of us, brothers and sisters, and then my mom and dad. So we had a great family, loving household. It was just a great place to grow up. I was a ballerina. I was in ballet for 10 years. I just loved it. I was wearing pointe shoes, super flexible. I could do the splits in all the directions, even up the wall. So totally enjoyed all that and all the recitals. I was also a runner. I ran cross country and track. So I was very disciplined. I was ambitious, and I was used to pushing my body really, past its limits. It didn't mean anything to me. I just kept pushing, and that carried into my career. I ended up going into finance and worked in financial institutions, and I transferred into corporate audit and compliance roles. And I did that for 20 years. And I would say I was a very detail-oriented person, into having a very methodical practice, very process-driven approach. And when I was at JPMorgan Chase, one year the team gave me at Christmas, they gave me a piggy bank, but it was the shape of an elephant. And we put it on my desk and everything. They said, because you have the memory of an elephant, you don't forget anything. So that always helped me in that role, right? In compliance and audit. It's good to be attention to detail and to remember things. I ended up later transferring out of finance and into tech. And I was working at IBM, and I was responsible for the AI compliance rollout for the entire company across 170 countries that they operate in. And my body started falling apart. And so I was hiding it, of course. My husband knew, but I wasn't sharing it, at work or anything like that. And I was having a hard time trying to get anybody to connect the dots, like what was wrong with me and what was happening. And so this went on for a couple of years, and it got to the point where I could no longer hide this. Like, it was coming out. People saw it. I was having personality changes. I was very short-tempered. I was, not focused. I was so tired. I was exhausted. I was in a lot of pain, and it was constant. And something as simple as drinking water was difficult for me for all of those years. And so, it just catches up to you after a while as you keep getting worse. Something simple. I mean, drinking water felt like glass shattering in my face. So very, very difficult. And I ended up going out on medical leave. And when I left, I was like, okay, I'm going to do what I know best. And I put on my audit hat and I said, I'm going to audit my own medical case. And I'm going to get to this root cause because I know there's patterns and there's something that's going on and something is wrong with me, even though I was being dismissed or told that it was stress. I was working too hard, taking on too many things. I was having perimenopause or menopause. That would cause this too. I should slow down. They can get meditation. Like I was told all sorts of things. And I was like, okay, no, there's really something wrong. Something's wrong. I've always done too much. That's never been a problem. Yeah. Why now? And I went on a path then. It lasted for 20 months. And I had 111 medical appointments in that time frame. I saw 26 different specialists. And this spanned across 4 different states in the US and then 2 countries. And I finally got to the diagnosis. I found out I needed to have brain surgery and I needed a permanent fusion on the back of my skull here to my C1, 2, and 3 just to be able to hold my neck up. And I have to say that now I'm 1 year out from the surgery. I am still a detailed-oriented person. So that is
that's a good, Monica, because being that detailed and paying attention, it helped you with your story as well.
It did, and it was a double-edged sword. Sometimes it went against me because doctors felt I was way too prepared, way too articulated. I couldn't be possibly in pain. I was functioning just fine in front of them. I looked completely normal. And I was always looking normal, but anything but normal happening inside my body. And that was tough. But you're right. Being able to track that got me to the answers at the end of the day. And so I'm still detailed today. I still follow patterns and gaps, but I'm doing it totally different. I'm doing it from the patient advocacy standpoint for rare disease. And I'm trying to help close gaps from the system and the policies, and both from a medical perspective, and then of course the insurance nightmare that comes on the other side of this, where I found lots of gaps throughout the process. So I said, okay, this is where I'm meant to be. I'm supposed to focus on this now. And I've also authored then memoir. I have my first book in my series, You Might Be a Zebra. It's in the editorial process right now to release later this year, so that's exciting. And then I also put together a website, and it's really a resource I wish had existed for me. The conditions that I was diagnosed with is rare. Very few clinicians understand it, let alone treat it or can diagnose it. So I put together a website that has a place for patients that are seeking information on these conditions to understand what they are, what the path can look like, and where you can go to actually get help. So I have that all put together in one place to help people, because there's a whole bunch of people. I know they say this is rare, but there's Facebook groups and forums, and there's like 54,000 people in the one Facebook group for CCI. And that's a pretty big number, and it's around the world. It's not just something that's here in the US, it's in Canada, it's in the UK, people in Australia, New Zealand, everybody's looking for answers, and in Europe, and they're like, how can we only have one doctor in Europe that can help us? So that's where you're trying to raise awareness for this is really important to me.
Yeah, well, what these rare illnesses like what you have, Monica, there are many doctors that are just finding different resources, right, and different avenues and looking at different patterns that are in the patient. And it's really frustrating when you go to a doctor and they're like, well, you look fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Like you look like it's all in your head, right? I myself went through that rabbit hole since the age of 26, MRIs, crazy CTs all the time, right? And then they finally diagnosed me with conversion disorder. It's because they don't want to take the time to actually understand that there are rare illnesses out there. And when you reached out to be on Teatime, I was like, absolutely, we need this, because we need this voice out there that says, there are rare illnesses that doctors need to start paying attention to. Not everybody has a cold and a flu.
Exactly. Yeah, but they're looking for that. And that's where the whole zebra thing came from, because I was not familiar with this zebra terminology at all until I was in this is the craziest part. I was actually in my pre-surgery clearance appointment at my primary care provider, getting 5 days from before my surgery to get cleared by them that I'm good to go. And I'm telling her how it's a good thing I was fighting and looking for, and just kept going and went even to other states and out of the country to find out what was wrong with me. And she said, well, it turns out you're a zebra. I was like, what? What are you talking about? I'm a zebra. And then she told me, well, yeah, in medical school, we're taught when we hear hoofbeats, you should think horses, not zebras. And she goes, you're supposed to go after the most common conditions. And I got in the car after that appointment, and I was just still stunned about this. I'm Googling on my phone this whole little phrase about a zebra. And sure enough, it comes up. There's all sorts of links you can go to. And I'm like, I had no idea that, this was going on. But I was like, okay, this is a pretty common thing. And I called my mom from the car, and I was telling her what they said. And my mom's like, well, that's all fine and all that they're taught that. But after 2 years of treating you like a horse, don't they finally say, she must be a zebra? No, they didn't.
I don't want to be a zebra.
They didn't even say it until it was my surgery. Everything was diagnosed, but so it is crazy. And the dismissal is real. I had appointments where, besides telling me I need to do less work and be less stressed and find ways to kumbaya, that you really start to believe that when you're told from that many physicians that you've done this to yourself. At first I was like, you guys are crazy. And then you hear it from so many doctors. And then I got sent to physical therapy. The one orofacial doctor that I met with, because the whole dental thing was what I first started with, thinking it was all in my face and teeth. And when I saw the orofacial specialist, she did all her exam and everything. And she's like, Monica, you've rendered your muscles useless in your neck and your mouth and everything. She's like, you're grinding your teeth way too much. You're just clenching and grinding. I was like, well, that's what the dentist keeps saying. He gave me all these, bite guards. They're not working. My pains are getting worse. She's like, you need physical therapy. You have no muscles left. You need physical therapy. I'm like, how did I do this to myself? It made no sense. I thought she was crazy. But then you start to think, okay, this is what they're saying. I go to physical therapy. She said I needed acupuncture, Botox, physical therapy. The list went on and on. Less stress, listen to all the music. And the physical therapist, I had to find one that was specializing in TMJ. Okay. And she did this whole exam and her therapy with me. And at the appointment, she finally says to me, this is a few weeks in, she's like, Monica, she goes, have you had anybody run blood work on you yet? Because I don't think this is TMJ and stress. And I was like, interesting. And that's where I went back to primary care, because I've been seeing dental and the orofacial. So I went back to primary care. And that's where I started getting referred out to so many different specialists. But the one specialist that I went to, he came in to the room. I was sitting in there just waiting. I was all excited. I think, you're going to get an answer. Every appointment, I would get my hopes up. I'm going to get an answer. And he came in and he had 2 medical students behind him. So they're all male. And he doesn't even look up at me. He's got my chart and he's reading it. And he says, oh, you are being treated for TMJ. You shouldn't be here. You should be in orofacial 2 floors down. Never looked at me. And he didn't even say hi. And I'm like, he does not want to help me. He's trying to figure out how to get rid of me. And I exploded. I didn't explode, but I was like,
and then when you melt down, then there's a depression. They talk about depression and they talk about you what is that? There's a word that hyperplegic, where you want to just see doctors all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because you feel like you're nothing.
Yeah. Because you want to be heard. So you're just seeing doctor. And you're listening to the doctors because the doctors are saying, go to this specialist, go to this specialist, go to this specialist. And then when the specialist sees, they're like, well, why did they send you here? Yes. Well, because that doctor sent me here. I'm only doing what you guys are telling me to do. You're supposed to be the professionals. So
that's what I even said to this guy. He was referred to him by the other guy. And he's like, I said, no, he sent me here. The doctor said I should be seeing you. And I got upset and I started to get teary-eyed because I was like, it's not TMJ. I have something wrong neurologically. I'm having all these problems. I've been to the ER. We're having tremors. I can't control like involuntary movements and terrible headaches. They're calling them migraines. Nothing works for them. I can't move for 24 hours. I'm debilitated. And if I move, I throw up and I'm in intense pain. And I, of course, had a little tear come down, and the doctor said, can one of you please hand her a tissue? And the next day I logged into my online chart, and he wrote at the very top, patient appears in a fragile emotional state, became tearful during the appointment. I'm like, so if you are intense about it and trying to show urgency and that there is something wrong, and you get, oh, you're just anxiety and fragile. But if you don't show enough urgency, then you feel like they don't take you seriously. So it's really, you get lost in the shuffle.
Well, it's a two-sword, right? Two-edged sword. Like you come in and you want it and want answers. And then if you're emotional, well, because you're so stressed out, because it's so long and so many answers and so many, there's mixed messages, right? And not being seen. Like when a doctor looks at their chart and doesn't even look up at you, that is so disrespectful. Like
it's horrible.
To explain the feeling that you get when a doctor does that, you know, or they finally look at your chart and are like, oh, well, you know what, in 2018, you had this. Oh, we're just seeing it now. Oh, okay. Well, what the heck is this? Like, do you guys look at the charts every 10 years? Like, what is going on here?
And they tend to only have like their 15-minute slot window. I literally had one tell me, I had brought the folder with paperwork once I finally had a diagnosis of the craniocervical instability and some of the other stuff. And she just looked at it. She's like, okay, we've taken up more than the 15 minutes we're allowed. And so you go photocopy all that and bring it back for us. I'm like, she's got her copy machines and staff out there. Like, but you get that kind of dismissal too. So and like the guy that didn't even look at me, why is he in the job he's in? Is he that upset to be working? Because I mean, you think if you're a doctor, you care about your patients and would say hello.
Well, that's what I mean, right? Do you go into these fields just for the currency, or do you go in for the purpose of it? Like, you know, you want to make a difference. You want to become a doctor because you want to make a difference for patients, or do you just want to go into it because of the paycheck? You know, and that's where a lot of doctors are going for, just the paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not seeing the human being right in front of them. And they could be that doctor that makes that difference and makes a difference in the health system by saying, you know what, I've never seen this before. Let me look a little deeper. It's like a school project, right? You get this result and you're like, but that doesn't add up. Like A and B is not adding up. So where does C come in here? Let's dig a little bit deeper. Maybe D needs to come into the equation. Like, you know what I mean? Like start connecting the dots, like you said.
Exactly. But they don't. So, I mean, I really had to go through and do it myself. They wanted to do Band-Aids. They didn't want to get to root cause. They were all about, Monica, you should have an ablation of your occipital nerves. That will help those migraines that you're getting in the back of your head. I'd be like, I can't hold my head up. It hurts. I can't even hold it up. I have to lay down and put it on heating pads. Like, I can't hold it up anymore. And they're like, no, we'll do the nerve ablation. So then I had to do more research to figure out what other alternatives are there, because that's not even a solution. Like, they don't know, why do I need a nerve ablation? Why do you have to burn this nerve? Like, why? You should know why before you suggest doing it. But they said they didn't need to know why, because a lot of the times they said it's just unknown, because it could be many things. Could be the stress or right? They listed all the things out, just the migraines, and they weren't interested in getting to that root cause. And then I eventually got referred to a pain psychologist. I didn't know those existed. I went to that appointment because I'm just desperate at this point, right? Anybody that can help me do anything, I was like, I will go. I'm like thinking, is he gonna tell me it's all in my head? Like, what's he trying to say? And I had the meeting with him. He actually was really good. He listened to everything, and he's like, we can help you. We can work with you. And he said, I want you to see the pain psychiatrist. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm being escalated.
I mean, it sounds like a roller coaster, you know, like it gets to the point where you're just like, what the heck? What is next, right?
Yes.
Do I even let them know that this is happening? Like this, a new thing is coming, a new pattern is coming, a new, Monica, we have some questions that are coming into the studio that I'd just like to get out to you as well, for my listeners that are tuning in. And thank you guys for tuning in today. I appreciate that. The first one is from Ariel, and it's, how did Monica first realize that something was more serious might be happening with her health?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question, Ariel. Yes, so at first, right, I thought tooth. And it was my back of my neck, and I had all these sharp pains with food and water and stuff happening in the mouth and, spreading up the face. So, of course, I kept thinking tooth, and the dentist kept telling me, get this night guard, do this other night guard, have muscle relaxants. Then I got escalated to do the Botox and the physical therapy and all of that. Once I went out on medical leave, and I was having all the neurological conditions now, and these debilitating periods where, again, it would be, don't touch me. Because like even one little movement that I did to like look at a cell phone, I would throw up. Later, I find out it's because all my fluids weren't processing through my head, and right, because I had compression through here from that craniocervical instability. So what that is the ligaments that hold up my head on all my vertebrae through here in the craniocervical junction to C3, the ligaments weren't doing their work. They were too stretchy. They like the stretched out rubber band. And so they were collapsing. So I was having my inside internally was collapsing like that. And I had compression when I was sleeping. Some of the time at 90% is what they determined, 90% compression. So not a lot of fluids going up and down that should be processing through the body. And like vagus nerve compression, the jugular vein was compressed. I had the optic nerve compression. So I had a lot of different things that were happening through the whole body. And that's when it was giving me more symptoms, that it became a full body thing. I was having all sorts of issues, but that also was part of the difficulty in treating, because then each specialist was treating me in their own silo instead of looking at the whole big picture and saying, oh, there must be something wrong that's causing our whole system to mess up. And instead they're like, right, the neurologist is only looking at the headaches section and not the other stuff. So that was really tricky.
I got a question for you, because I have CFF blockage, where the spinal fluid's not going up to the brain, right?
Yes.
Did you have that?
Yes, and that's where I did have the blockage. And so it depended, it wasn't constant, right? Because my instability can be worse in a vehicle, because now you add the movement. I was horrible in a car. Like I would be like, don't put me in a car. I didn't want anything to do with cars. And I still hate them today, by the way. This titanium didn't help.
So is that like the first thing that they diagnosed you with, was the blockage?
No, I was diagnosed with all sorts of things like trigeminal neuralgia, occipital neuralgia, the TMJ, all of those types of things, migraines. When I got the first official diagnosis that actually was a real diagnosis for what was happening to me, the doctor that he had the image up on the screen. My husband and I were in there watching him watch it live. They had done a digital motion x-ray. So up to this point, I had all the MRIs I'd been having were lying down. And when they did the digital motion x-ray, you open your mouth for that and you can see those top vertebrae through there, and they have you move and turn your head and they can see what's happening to the vertebrae in motion. So if you're just sitting and laying down, right, you don't see the motion part. And since the ligaments weren't doing their job, you needed to see me in motion, because that's when you could see it was all collapsing. And so when we watched it for the first time with that doctor, he's like, you have a broken neck. He's like, you're a surgery candidate. And we're like, what? Huh? Who does the surgery for this? Like, what is this? And then from there, I had additional scans, because now I knew, okay, I need certain neurosurgeons that can treat this, because there's not very many in the world that can do that. And each neurosurgeon visit I had, I got a new diagnosis along with my other ones, because they did different imaging yet again. So that's when I got the Chiari, was at the first neurosurgeon. He did an upright MRI, and the upright MRI can see that the cerebellum has fallen into my spinal canal. But when I lie down on a regular MRI, it would fall back into place somewhat. So you wouldn't see it on the lay down MRI that I had that condition. So that's why that wouldn't have been diagnosed originally. But the doctors, right, like they don't have enough of the knowledge to understand that there's these different imagings that exist and are available out there, and insurance doesn't like it. They don't want to cover it. So it's a little difficult in that sense because there are so many different images to get that are available. I had no idea about any of that. I just thought they do the MRI and they tell me it was normal. I thought that was a dead end for me. I did not understand there's so many more other types of imaging.
Well, we have a question here from Kathy for you, and it's, what kept you motivated during those years of searching for answers?
Oh my gosh, that's a very good question, Kathy.
It's called, oh, pillow screaming.
I would lay there and be like, just knock me out, take me to the hospital, do whatever. I can't take this pain anymore. I don't want to fight anymore. But I have 2 daughters and my husband, and very supportive. And I was like, I can't, I'm only 50. I was like, I can't, give up right now. And so it's like, I just have to, stay focused and keep trying to find what's going on. But I have such a lovely husband, Dan. So I do have to share that one of the main things that was really, really helpful for me is that he got me 2 little ragdoll kittens and they became my little buddies, in the house during the day, like as I was researching or in pain and stuff, and they stay with you, and they gave me motivation too, because, I have to take care of them and feed them. So that was helpful.
Well, it's nice to always have a loving, supporting support, right? Like a spouse.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference when you're going through a lot of health issues. When you're by yourself, it's stressful. We have a question here from Rochelle. It is, was there a specific moment when you knew you needed to advocate for yourself more aggressively?
Yeah, when I was being told that it was all because I had rendered my muscles useless, and that the PT person saying, wait a minute, have you had the blood work done yet? And start thinking about it from a different lens. And that's where it was like, okay, I need to advocate, because nobody was going to do blood work, for you have to suggest it and push for that. And even with the blood work that I had done, I found out later that they didn't even run full panels, right? They ran just certain things. And so when I had additional blood work done later, from a different doctor, they were like stunned, because they're like, all my vitamins, I was anemic, all these things that were wrong with me. And I was like, why wasn't that found before? It was never included in the other blood work. They only ran my thyroid, which was off. And I had Hashimoto's. I got told I had Hashimoto's and I have thyroid nodules. I had all sorts of things, ultrasounds for that. So
right, and then you get all these diagnoses, and then you start to think that you're just a mixed up jam.
Exactly.
That's how I describe mine, because they were like, you have this. I was like if I had all of this, I wouldn't even be standing anymore. Because this covers this. Did they give you medication on top of medication as well?
Yeah, so I kept having medication, but I do have to tell back to what you had just said, that I actually had in my cell phone, I put a note in of all my conditions because I couldn't remember them all. I have like 25, and at my other doctor's appointment a few months ago, I was saying I had my phone open because I said, oh, well, let me open it because I have it in here, and I'm talking. She's like, can I just see that? And she's like, can I take a photo of that? And she took a photo because she's like, it was so much. She didn't want to write it all down right then and there. I was like, yeah. You wonder, like, how can I have so many things? But,
yeah, I kind of describe my story as jars of jams. Like, you're just putting different berries in, different sugars in, different levels of lemon juice. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing anymore, and you just get to a point where you're just like, I just want to close my eyes and enough is enough.
Yes.
But when you have children and that, it's different, right? Because then something snaps in you and you're like, no, get out of that state of mind, right?
It is. It's hard though, because like you're saying with that medication, like they kept giving me different medications. So I had all sorts of muscle relaxants. So like, okay, those didn't work. We'll try a different brand type. Okay. None of them would work. And then they wanted to do the migraine prevention so that I wouldn't get one. But then I had to have one when I got it, take that. And then they kept doubling doses and trying different brands of that. And none of them touched any of this. When I had the debilitating, episodes where I couldn't move, I had the feeling like I'd been impaled, like it was right through here and out the backside of my head. And I had pulsing like this. It was all through here, pulsing and pulsating, throbbing. And it was so painful. And I would tell the doctors, I'm like, it's like people are all over inside of there. You're knocking, Monica, let me out. We need it out of your head, because it's just so much pounding was going on. And then they would just keep trying different medications for it. And then they tried the Botox up in the head. Like, I mean, they were trying the nerve blocks, right? They tried everything. None of it was working.
Monica, did you ever have a metal taste in your mouth?
No.
Like when you did your eye examinations, did you ever get a metal taste in your mouth?
Not that I remember.
Miss Liz is just getting curious. Me and Monica will talk after the show, but I just wanted to.
No, I didn't have that.
Because every time I tell the doctors I taste metal, it's like I'm chewing on tinfoil. Every time they do the blue eye and the blue light in my eyes, I taste metal. And they're like, you can't be tasting metal. And I was like, I taste metal. I don't know. And they're like, well, how do you know what metal tastes like? I said, it's like tinfoil. Like, I don't know. Like when it's hard to explain. It's like a metal taste.
Oh my gosh. Somebody was just talking to me a few weeks ago about this. One of my friends, and she was saying that she tastes metal, and she said the doctor said, well, yeah, okay. Like they were just like, it doesn't matter.
They just brush it off, right? And it's just like, are you guys here like to help us, or are you here just to, get your 15 minutes of fame? That's how I feel with doctors. I really don't like doctors. I've had doctors on Teatime. Don't get me wrong. I respect you guys, but I think that a little bit of respect needs to come both ways. And I think becoming a patient advocate is what we need to start doing. We need to start advocating for ourselves, because we're the best ones that understand our body, right? We know when something's not right. We know when we're off. That's what I told my spouse a couple of months ago. I said, something is off. I don't know what it is, but I'm not myself. And I'm not a person that likes to sit around and complain and say pain, pain, pain. I'm just tired of agony. Like, it's not even pain anymore. It's just stupid agony. And I want it to go away. And I can get that from your story as well. Now, the zebra part, is that because zebras all have different stripes that they considered as zebra?
Exactly, that they're all different. And so, and so they're considered rare too. And it's interesting still, though, how I guess in the medical world, my mom made a good point. It's like they don't say, wait a minute. Right?
That one has a different stripe. No, stay away from it. It's like a tiger, right? I want to be a tiger. I don't want to be a zebra. If you guys are going to diagnose me as a tiger, please. Well, Monica, we have a question here, and then I want to get into your tea a little bit from Bargain Homes. Do you think that approach helps speed up your diagnosis eventually?
Oh, to where I started doing the audit and everything. Oh, for sure. Because mine is 20 months. I have people that reached out to me through the Facebook group that were undiagnosed for 10 years. And it's very common to go more like 7 plus, 10 years plus before you find those answers. So I was digging and researching and just asking anything. And then when I finally got to the right doctor that did that imaging, I found that through looking through alternatives for the nerve ablation. And so it was just through research, Googling, and in between my debilitated episodes, right? I'd sit there and Google and try to look for what were my other options. And that was the moment that everything changed, because now I was to the group of people that understand these conditions, and they can understand it and treat it. And so unfortunately for me, it was diagnosed so late. Would I have been able to avoid this permanent fusion that I have? Because I've lost mobility permanently the rest of my life. This is all I can turn left and right, and I've got mobility limits up and down.
But you can't turn your neck, right?
Right, exactly. I can't do any further than what I'm doing. So driving a car is extremely difficult. But driving in the car already is horrible, because even though the titanium is in here holding me up, you add that motion in, I get a strangle feeling. It goes like this, and I feel like I'm being strangled, and it becomes very hard to swallow. It's like I have a bone there. That happens even during the day if I've been sitting up on a laptop or working or out and about, if I'm on an errand or something with the kids, that it's too much activity and I need to go back and lay back down. And unfortunately, I have my neck brace here. So this I have to wear anytime I'm in a car, if I'm not driving, even with the titanium, which does help then the whole strangulation. But the cage is the neck brace. And I have to say, I have a love-hate relationship with this neck brace. And
I can imagine.
I'm like, serious. But, I do have to show. So this is what's in my head. So that's what the titanium looks like. And I had 2 neurosurgeons and a plastic surgeon that did the surgery. So the first neurosurgeon did the Chiari decompression. So he removed part of the skull to make room for the cerebellum that fell in. My other neurosurgeon, he did the titanium fusion, and he pulverized the skull that they removed and put it on top of all the titanium, so it would fool my body that it was not a foreign object and that it would accept it and not reject it. So it's really cool how they, have this all figured out now. And I had a plastic surgeon who was also part of the team. So my surgery was 8 hours. The part of the team was a plastic surgeon who went in and he removed dead nerve, because I had numbness that had come down into the arms and the involuntary movements and things that were happening. And that's from all those nerves being compressed from all that time. And so he removed the dead nerve tissue, and he layered in the muscles and nerves and tissues, all from like healthy and newly cut, so that they would heal together, right? He made it so they were layered together, and he had different suture levels all inside of there, all dissolvable at different times after, so many weeks and months. But I had zero outside stitches or staples or anything. He had everything all dissolvable. Amazing.
Oh, wow. See, and those are the doctors that need a shout out for, like, there are some that are doing it for they're doing it for the, for purpose.
Yes,
to make
exactly.
a difference.
Yeah, once I found all the neurosurgeons that I met with that understood this and are working, towards, helping patients with this, they all are so very experienced, and they've all got their different little expertise that they've honed in on too. Because it's almost like you have a chef in the kitchen making bolognese, but if you put 5 chefs in there, all the 5 bolognese will be slightly a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
They have their own little secret sauce. And that's how the surgeons are too, the neurosurgeons. And so my husband and I met with the neurosurgeons to interview them and understand what their process would be. And the team that I did pick was out of New York. I mean, I enjoyed all the neurosurgeons that we met with. They were all excellent. The team that we went with was in New York, and they have been working together for 15 years. And that's how we honed in on with the plastic surgeon, because the underlying condition to what I had those surgeries for, I would say it's like peeling an onion. It's like the first layer is the condition itself. I had 2 conditions. I had 1 surgery for it. But there's an underlying layer, and that's a tissue disorder. And that was diagnosed 6 weeks after my surgery. So that is actually why I have the conditions I had. And the tissue disorder is called Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. I have the hypermobility type. There's different variants. And that explains why, as a ballerina, I could do all those splits in all the directions that I did. And up the wall, I was super flexible because my tissue, right, my ligaments, everything's so stretchy. But as I get older in age, too stretchy. But that's where they have conservative treatments. And if I'd been found out sooner by those doctors, like you said, if they'd be interested, and try to learn more and think, what could this possibly be? I may never have had to do this, permanent surgery that I had done. That it's helped, but I definitely don't have the debilitating episodes that I have, but I am in constant pain. And from here all the way back to here is still numb, pins and needles, and all that nerve pain and damage. And I've tried the nerve shots, they've given me shots to try to see if that helps. I'm on muscle relaxants, I'm on gabapentin, I'm on different drugs to see, but none of it works. So it's just constant pain. So even just touching a pillow hurts. It's hard.
So Monica, do you have fluid moving up and down your spine now, or no?
Yeah, I do. I'm fine with the fluids now. So now my pain, so all that's gone, right? So those severe migraines, and I don't have any of that anymore. It's just this constant pain that's right through here, and then the choking and stuff that happens.
Well, Monica, before we get into your tea, we have a question here from Real Charlotte, and is how can people connect with the resources you're creating? So most of the resources are on your website, correct?
Yeah, they're on the website at monicadubeau.com. And inside of there, I've built out the site to really help. Like, are you looking for more information on the clinical side, like the clinician side? Because I'm not a doctor. I'm just sharing, here's what I went through. And here I have a whole section of resources though, where I pull in all the clinical stuff that I relied on. So I have it too, based on what type of mode do you like? Do you want like a podcast? Do you want to watch or read an article, watch a YouTube video? I have them all different types of modalities in there. And then I actually tag the clinicians. I have all the content right in there, and I have it marked because I'm an auditor process. So I have, make sure to listen at 6 minutes where she talks about why you're so tired all the time.
Well, you know what? And that might be 6 minutes that makes a difference in someone's life. You know?
Yeah, and those were resources that I found super helpful. So all that clinician stuff, that gets you pointed to all those right places that, here's the doctors that know what this is all about. And then I have a side where if you're like searching for stuff like, what's it feel like to have this? What do I do if I think I have this? What kind of images are there? And why are there all the different kind of images? I have things on there that explain the different types of images that are available, the different types of MRIs and CAT scans. And then like I have even my surgeries documented, what it's like. I've worked with people who are going in for the same surgery as me, and I had a checklist I created that is it's very long, but it has a caretaker section on it too. And I figure you don't have to use it all, but I just gave everything I knew, because it was like, what would I wish I would have known going into the surgery? So I have that section in there. And what would my husband wish he would have known before we had surgery? I mean, it's all sorts of good stuff to bring to the hospital if you're having the surgery, and how to get ready for it, because it's a major surgery. It takes a year. This surgery is a year-long recovery for the bone to heal. And I just had my checkup in New York a week ago. So the bone is healing well. And then 3 to 4 years for the brain, for the synapses and everything like that to heal.
Well, let's talk about the petition, and then we'll get into your tea, because I really want to get this out there for everybody. I'm going to put the link for anybody that would like to sign the petition as well. It'll be across the screen. So Monica, if you just want to share a little bit about the petition.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love for people to sign this and show support. The petition is, it's to raise education and awareness around the condition itself. And so we're not trying to tell doctors what to do or how to treat it or anything like that, but get a task force created and understand this condition does exist. There are people documented with this. My tissue doctor diagnoses 3 times a week patients to go have the surgery in New York. So, I mean, it's not as rare as some people might think. So this is to get that task force created so that we can make sure, like, the medical association is saying, okay, we need to have credits every year for their, the surgeons, the neurosurgeons need to have this as part of their learning curriculum for the year, for their credits that they have to get each year. Make sure that, this is included as a topic, and make sure other clinicians are aware, right? Primary care doctors are your first source of care. So they should be aware that this exists and that this tissue disorder is out there. And this is a big issue with those who have the tissue disorder, the tissue laxity. So raising that awareness from that perspective. I am working with the Massachusetts Rare Disease Advisory Council. I'm actually giving testimony next month, trying to push through policy change. This would be really helpful to have more signatures on that to show more support into that testimony. Really appreciate anybody that would sign that.
I'm going to leave that link up for anybody that would like to sign the petition. If you guys would like to know more as well, it's also on the website. So we're going to leave that up for a few minutes. Monica, let's talk about your tea, because the tea that you gave me was tracked, exposed, and authored. So who got exposed and who got tracked?
Tracking was 111 appointments over the 20 months and all of the conditions and everything like that. That's a tracking. Exposed, it was 2 things though. The exposed is a 2-pronged, because I exposed, okay, what that image you just showed, it was real. It was happening inside my body and nobody saw it, but that was what was happening to me. And yeah, that's why I was debilitated. But it also exposed the gaps in the system. So part of what I'm going on testimony for next month with the Rare Disease Council of Massachusetts is that the insurance company. So they can do a peer-to-peer review. And this is what they do with my surgery. They do it with other surgeries too, but they have a peer doctor review for them, and they declined my surgery 2 days before my surgery. My surgeon called me on a Sunday, 2 days before I'm supposed to be in New York. And he called me on a Sunday afternoon to tell me it was not approved, it had been denied. And he said, tomorrow morning, I have to get on a call with that physician, with the peer physician. It's not really a peer though, right? Because there's so few people that understand my condition. And it took 26 people to diagnose it, right? The different specialties. And one insurance company physician is going to deny the care. It doesn't make any sense. So this is a gap, but rare disease insurance companies can't say that they're having a peer review when they're not even a peer. And I've actually found out in some of these scenarios, there was a pediatrician that reviewed one. One was an OBGYN. Those are not peers. And even if they had a neurosurgeon that was meeting with my neurosurgeon, he's still not a peer unless he's one of these few in the world that understand this condition and treat it and diagnose it.
I think they just try to turn a blind eye to fix, healing people. Like they just want us to stay broken.
I know, but then it makes it cost more money, right?
Yeah.
I could have avoided the whole surgery and just had conservative treatment. That would have been cheaper. But yeah.
Well, I am so glad that you are using your voice, Monica, and you're bringing that change to policies and bringing awareness to the rare diseases, because we need to have these conversations more. Not everybody has a cold and a flu. Not everybody has chickenpox. For the breakage of the muscles and everything in the neck and that, was that because of a vaccine? Was that because of a childhood illness? What caused that?
Yeah, that's the tissue disorder. So the EDS, the tissue disorder, it means that I have collagen through my body, and the tissue is more than 90% of our body. So I have collagen, but my collagen is a faulty collagen. So it's not doing its job as well as other people that have good collagen. And so over time, it can get worse as you age and other exposure. So being familiar with this is important, because especially for like my daughters, they've inherited the tissue disorder. They can do preventative care, right? To try not to have damage here. Don't ride roller coasters, number one. Don't do contact sports. Don't be in a car accident. Like there's a lot of things that you could help prevent them. Wear the neck brace when you're in a car. And the dentist, I wear it in the car, but for like my daughters, wear it at the dental appointment, because going to lean back in the dental chair, they say that wearing the neck brace is a very good protection for anybody that would have the tissue disorder, to help protect this, the craniocervical junction. So things like that, being aware that there are things that you can do to help. It might not work for everybody, but any prevention that you can try is worth it.
So is there any signs that people should be looking for, like with this tissue disorder?
With the tissue disorder, so if you're extremely flexible, double jointed, could do the splits as a kid, there's actually the Baton score. There's a test that's out there. It takes less than 5 minutes. They look at, like, if you can turn your arm up and it pops up, like, do you have like your shoulder dislocate? Like my shoulders dislocate if I sleep wrong. That's from the tissue disorder. So the joints aren't very stable. Especially, it's like my daughters, they can put their feet behind their head. They can pull them up and like put them. I can't do that.
If I did that, I'm not coming out of that.
But I am dead serious. They can stay in this chair and pull their feet back up and behind there. But like I can sit down on the floor and do like crazy things where I can turn my legs outward and stuff. So it's like you can really like turn your body in different ways. And my daughter, when she was 1, she got put in a cast because she broke her arm, and it was broken 3 places. So they had the cast that came up, up here by your shoulder, and she had that bent arm into the cast, came around her, the whole area of your thumb, hand up, right? Whole thing. She broke out of the cast. She was 1. She broke out of the cast after like 10 days. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I call the orthopedic surgeon. He's like, bring her in. I bring the cast, I bring her, and he's like, he goes, that's really weird. That doesn't usually happen. And he's looking, and he's like, maybe it was too loose. I don't think it was loose, but he's like, okay, we'll do another one. So we went from purple and we changed the color to red. And then she's in the red cast, and she's in it 5 days, and she's out of that one. And I call, and we go back in, and he's like, no, that I know was not too loose. He's like, this is crazy. And we go pink. So I come home, she gets out of pink. And she always did it when I wasn't in the room. But my other daughter ran and get me, and I go in there, and she's sitting in front of the pink cast is on the floor, and she's all smiley. And I'm like, what the heck? And I take her picture, and I go back to the doctor, and I said, I think she's a fashionista. She likes to change the color every week. And he says, she is baby Houdini. He's like, how is she doing this? And now we know.
I was about to say she's a Houdini. Like, she's coming out of them. Like, she's a magician.
It was a tissue disorder. She can contort. And like, she broke out of a cast at 3 times. But yet, think about this. This is years ago now, because she's 16 now. But no one said, like, the doctor didn't say, like, wow, we should see if there's a condition that causes like there's a tissue disorder. Like, if they were familiar with the tissue disorder, they would be like, she has EDS, and this is why she's able to contort herself and do that.
So your children are genetic to the tissue disorder?
Yeah. So I inherited it too. Didn't know it, and so they both have it. So yes, my youngest daughter is getting treated this summer through the same doctor team that I've been working with to get additional screening and things to look at, because like she gets migraines and other pain, like back pain and other stuff too. So she's getting looked at for that further. But yeah, it's for them, it's really how do you help prevent stuff too? So like those prevention tips.
So, Monica, we have a question. Is it only females that are getting this tissue disorder, or is there males as well?
Oh, great question. So it is, both can get it, but it's predominantly females get it. And what's really interesting is there is a connection with perimenopause and menopause that a lot of women don't know they have it until that time frame, because during perimenopause and menopause, the first 5 years, you lose 30% of your collagen going through perimenopause, menopause. And so if you're taking away 30% of the collagen of somebody that's already got faulty collagen, like that's not a good sign. So that sometimes then it's even more common to find out during that time frame.
And you were diagnosed at what age?
Yeah, I was 50. And
good old 50s.
Yeah.
I'm in the 50s club too. I'm just like,
yeah, so I'm 51 now. Yep. And I have the loss of mobility permanently.
So Monica, if for any of the listeners out there, if they'd like to know more about the tissue disorder and all that, how can they reach you and how can they connect with you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Go right to monicadubeau.com. All the resources are on there. And then, of course, there's also the contact form, and you can reach me through that contact form that's on the website.
So what message would you give to everybody that is becoming an advocate for their own health today?
Oh, my gosh. I would say that if you are still getting normal scans, but you are in pain and something's wrong, just know it's not imaginary pain, that you really do have pain, and that you need to keep searching, look for the root cause, look at different imaging that's available, press the doctors for what else can they do, have they exhausted all of the options, right, with the special imaging. There's so many imaging, like go to my website and read about the different imaging that's available, because that might be something that you need, like, right, if you're laying down, you need gravity and be sitting up to see certain conditions. And not a lot of doctors understand that.
So for anybody that is suffering right now and you feel like you're not being heard by a doctor, advocate for yourself, because you know your body the best, and that's why I bring these stories to the table for you guys, so that you guys can see that there are people that are not being heard, and we just got to advocate. We got to start being that voice for the voiceless out there and start bringing that change. And that's what Teatime is all about. Monica, I really want to just thank you for joining me on Teatime and bringing your story to the table. When your book comes out, please let me know so I can let the listeners know as well. This was an amazing Teatime. I really want to just thank everybody for tuning in and bringing your questions and support as well to all of my guests each and every time we come to the table. I'm just going to do a quick recap of what today's Teatime was, and I won't be back at 7 p.m. It is going to be rescheduled. A family crisis came up, so we are rescheduling that for a later time. But What an incredible and powerful, meaningful conversation today. Monica, thank you for bringing your honesty, vulnerability, strength, and advocacy to the Teatime table. Your story is not simply about illness. It is about identity, resilience, survival, and the courage to keep searching for answers, even when your reality is misunderstood by others. Today's conversation reminded us how deeply life can change in ways people on the outside may never fully see. We explored invisible illnesses, medical advocacy, trauma, emotional healing, rebuilding identity, and the importance of creating systems where people feel heard rather than dismissed. One of the strongest takeaways from today is this: being believed can change someone's life. Through your advocacy and storytelling, you are helping others feel less alone while also creating awareness that may lead to earlier recognition, deeper compassion, and stronger support for families navigating complex conditions. You also reminded listeners that resilience is not about pretending everything is okay. Sometimes resilience is simply choosing to keep going while rebuilding yourself place by place. Here's some food for thought to leave with everyone today. How differently might people heal if they were met first with compassion instead of skepticism? Because sometimes the greatest medicine begins with someone finally saying, I see you, I believe you, and you are not alone. Thank you, Monica, for transforming your pain into purpose and for building bridges that help others navigate journeys that can often feel isolating and overwhelming. Until next time, keep raising awareness, keep creating connection, and keep serving real life tea, one conversation at a time. And I'll see everybody next week, and we'll do this all over again.